We're diving deep into what Dostoevsky himself called probably the most difficult artistic challenge in the world.
Right.
Creating a figure of absolute pure goodness, a positively beautiful man, and then just dropping him into the middle of this cynical, greedy, status-obsessed machine of 19th century St. Petersburg.
It's such an audacious literary experiment, and the result, of course, is The Idiot.
Written in the late 1860s.
And it's arguably his most personal, most spiritual work. So our mission today is really to unpack what happens when true innocence confronts this really deep-seated corruption.
And why the outcome is so devastating.
It really is.
So our hero, or maybe our doomed subject, is Prince Lev Nikolaevich Myshkin.
Yes.
The story kicks off on a cold November train, and Myshkin is returning to Russia after spending 5 long years away.
In a Swiss sanatorium, yeah. He is, for all intents and purposes, a ghost arriving home.
An orphan, right?
Completely. He has nothing but his inherited title, a small bundle of clothes, and, a vague connection to some distant relatives. He's been treated all this time for a peculiar disease,
Which the sources we have call idiocy.
and it's connected to his severe epileptic seizures. So he steps off that train, this gentle, honest soul.
Into an environment that is just the perfect, sulfurous opposite of his entire nature.
Precisely. The St. Petersburg society he enters is, it's wholly defined by the pursuit of material contentment.
Rank and status.
It's all about rigid protocol and hidden motives. Dostoevsky makes it so clear that success here is just following a well-drawn path devoid of risk.
And risk, in this context, means anything original, anything honest or heartfelt.
Absolutely. His critique of this society just cuts so deep. He basically says that if you want to be a man of action, a man of accomplishment in this world, a deficit of imagination has always been considered a prime quality.
So originality is dangerous.
Conformity is currency.
So when Myshkin arrives, and he's just incapable of playing these sophisticated social games.
The sophisticated people immediately see him as mentally impaired.
He's gentle, he's truthful,
He's guileless.
and they just label him an idiot, a fool.
It's a label just loaded with irony, and we really have to understand the context here.
Go on.
In 19th century Russia, that word idiot, it had multiple meanings. Clinically, yes, it referred to his epilepsy, his perceived impairment.
But there's more to it.
Oh, yeah. It also carried this deep religious resonance connected to the figure of the Eurodivi, the holy fool.
A holy fool, right? The person whose, apparent madness is actually a divine calling. It allows them to speak painful truths that everyone else ignores.
Exactly. So society calls Myshkin an idiot for really 3 main reasons, and each one exposes their own moral failings.
Okay.
First, he just lacks the capacity to communicate according to their established adult norms. He is simply too open, too straightforward.
He avoids all that circuitous etiquette.
He does.
I think we need to pause on that phrase. For you, the listener, just imagine a world where every single word, every gesture has to be calculated.
To affirm your social rank, to hide what you really feel.
And if you just say what you mean, they assume you're either dangerous or you're just stupid.
It's the inability to lie, even by omission, that condemns him. Second, he consistently acts against his own self-interest.
In a genuinely good-hearted way.
We see it early on when he helps his rival, Rogozhin, escape with the woman he loves. Who does that?
In the cynical world, nobody. Only a fool.
And the third reason is the most famous. His profound, almost childlike naivete. He's rumored to believe, and he does, that beauty can save the world.
So his honesty, which they all see as a mental flaw, it really just proves that the rest of them have become his polar opposite.
Deep cynics who doubt everyone's intentions. He assumes goodness, they assume malice.
Okay, that covers the setup. But here's where the analysis gets really complicated, and I want to push back a little. The sources suggest Myshkin's goodness is itself flawed, because his actions come from pity and compassion, rather than true Christian love. Isn't compassion the starting point for all moral action? Why would Dostoevsky punish him for that?
That is the ultimate crucial nuance of the novel. Pity, as it's interpreted by Dostoevsky scholars, implies a kind of distance.
The distance.
Yeah, when you pity someone, you're sort of looking down on their suffering from a moral high ground. It subtly suggests that you're better off.
So it betrays a sense of pride.
And pride is the antithesis of the pure, self-abnegating Christian love that this ideal demands.
So true love requires you to completely humble yourself, eliminate that distance, but pity, it keeps you separate.
Exactly. And Myshkin, for all his pure intentions, he can't quite bridge that final gap. He himself describes his commitment to the suffering Nastasya Filippovna as love out of pity.
He's saving her, not joining her.
And that distinction is critical, because if his intervention, no matter how kind, is incomplete, well, he ends up causing this trail of defeats and destruction around him. His attempt to save fails.
And that failure leads us straight into the emotional, spiritual storm of the novel, the love triangle.
The impossible love triangle.
Let's introduce the woman at the center of it, Nastasya Filippovna Barashkov.
A woman of notorious, just overwhelming beauty. But society defines her as a fallen woman.
Right. She was the kept mistress of a wealthy man, Tosky, since she was a teenager. They call her corrupted, guilty.
But when Myshkin first sees her photograph, it's one of the most famous moments in the book, he doesn't see scandal. He doesn't even really see beauty first.
He sees her suffering.
Immense, profound suffering, and he declares her innocent when the whole world has already condemned her.
And then on the third point of the triangle, we have Myshkin's opposite.
Parfen Rogozhin. Myshkin meets him on that train in the very first scene.
And he is just dark, consuming passion.
Completely. He's intense, obsessed, and driven by this destructive, purely possessive desire to own Nastasya.
So the two men circle each other. The man of light, Myshkin, wanting to save her soul.
And the man of darkness, Rogozhin, wanting to possess her body.
But they're so deeply linked. It's magnetic. They share this obsession, and they even share this strange kind of brotherhood.
They do. In that incredible scene, they exchange crosses. They become spiritual brothers, eternally bound, even though one is salvation and the other is destruction.
It's central to the whole tragedy.
It is.
And here's where Dostoevsky injects the huge intellectual crisis that underpins the whole plot.
Linking the human drama directly to the question of faith.
He was preoccupied with death, wasn't he? Especially the torture of knowing you're about to die.
A theme he understood well, having faced a mock execution himself. And the ultimate symbol of this crisis is a real-life painting.
Hans Holbein the Younger's, the body of the dead Christ in the tomb.
Dostoevsky saw this in Basel in 1867, and he puts a copy of it right in Rogozhin's dark, foreboding house.
That painting is terrifying. It's not the serene, idealized Christ we usually see.
No, it's a shockingly realistic depiction of a dead body. The sources describe it as showing Christ as a rotting corpse, totally subject to the cold, harsh laws of nature. It's grotesque.
And Myshkin looks at it and he cries out that a painting like that can make you lose your faith.
It poses the devastating question at the heart of the novel.
If Christ died like that, like mere rotting flesh, how can we possibly believe in the resurrection?
How can we believe that beauty will save the world?
That's the spiritual crisis that all three of them are drowning in.
And as this deepens, Nastasya is just completely torn. She sees Myshkin's power to save her, but she's also convinced she's too corrupted, too guilty to accept it.
So she's constantly running from Myshkin's light back to Rogozhin's darkness.
And then adding another layer to the dilemma is Aglaya Epanchin.
She represents a different kind of life for Myshkin.
A normal life, domestic happiness. She is proud, intelligent, the daughter of a general. She is the good life he could have.
But she forces him to choose, doesn't she? Between her love and his overwhelming compassion for Nastasya.
And Myshkin's defining feature, his pure, unconditional, pitying goodness, it dictates his final, fatal act.
He can't abandon Nastasya.
He cannot. His commitment is absolute, even if it costs him everything. He sacrifices his chance with Aglaya, and she storms off, heartbroken and humiliated.
And that single act of compassion sends Nastasya back to destruction one last time.
On the night of her planned wedding to Myshkin, she flees. She runs straight to Rogozhin.
And the novel just barrels towards its haunting conclusion after that.
Rogozhin, in a fit of possessive fury, murders her.
Stabs her through the heart.
Brutally.
We have to linger on that final image, the final vigil. It's so deeply symbolic.
It is.
The two spiritual brothers, light and darkness, sitting together all night beside the covered body of the woman they both loved and, destroyed.
It's the moment where light and darkness just merge. Rogozhin falls into a feverish madness and is sentenced to hard labor.
But the fate of Prince Myshkin, that's the final, devastating answer to Dostoevsky's whole experiment.
The positively beautiful man is utterly, completely destroyed.
He regresses.
He regresses fully to the state the world initially mocked him for. The title, The Idiot, which was this ironic name for his goodness, becomes a literal, final reality.
He loses his mind. Can't speak, can't recognize anyone.
And he's sent back to the Swiss sanatorium, never to recover. The world just crushes him.
So if we connect this back to the mission of our deep dive, Dostoevsky tested pure goodness in the modern world.
And the result was utter devastation. Myshkin's heart was genuine, his compassion was boundless, but it wasn't enough.
It couldn't save Nastasya from her own self-destruction.
And it certainly couldn't bridge the massive gap between his innocence and the world's corruption. His love, tinged by that pity, destroyed everything he tried to save, and finally destroyed him.
It's often said that if Crime and Punishment is about a man drowning in sin and trying to climb out,
Then The Idiot is about a saint drowning in a sinful world.
his purity couldn't conquer the world conquered him. It's a fundamental lament.
And that lament carries through. I mean, Myshkin failed, yes, but his failure shows us what we could be and what we have lost. Dostoevsky confronts all the evidence that negates faith, the painting, the murder, the madness.
And yet, through Myshkin's very existence, he affirms the value of that beautiful ideal, even in total ruin.
Exactly.
So we leave you, the listener, with this final provocative thought. In our own pursuit of goodness, of compassion in such a cynical age, how far should we go in turning the other cheek before we too risk becoming absurd?
Or worse, completely destroyed by a world that simply cannot receive that kind of innocence.
Dostoevsky leaves that question hanging, dark and unresolved, long after the prince falls silent.